responsible for the broken homes and the failing schools and the crime epidemic that's sweeping our inner cities. Let's talk about the party responsible for trying to radicalize with Marxist ideology black kids in the inner cities with the dogma of CRT. Let's talk about this one that's really important. Let's talk about the 400,000 black babies that were targeted by Planned Parenthood that lost their lives in 2021. And friends, I think we need to talk about those cities and those churches that burned across our country during the Summer of Love from the BLM and Antifa riots in 2020. And just so that we're clear, because the mainstream media, they like to pick up, tips on YouTube of us talking at CPAC. BLM, let's make sure we know what it stands for. BLM stands for Black Line Marxists. That's what it stands for. Now, as conservatives, we don't always like this idea of government controlling and doing everything. So if you like the idea of the reparations that I talked about, but you really don't, you got some relatives that are, I've got some relatives that are, they're tree-hugging liberals and they're kind, bleeding hearts. And what I just always tell them, if you just have to have reparations and we can't get it through the Congress like I talked about, why don't you just cash at me directly and give me those reparations that you're talking about? Because I got a daughter and a son who will be starting school, so I'm thinking of renaming my Cash App handle. I'm going to call it, I want to call it the United Negro College Fund. And you can just send all of those dollars that you're thinking about to that address. But, speaking of my obvious oppression that we've been talking about from the left, I've been doing a lot of cable news lately. And they like to put us up against, liberals. And every single time these liberals were on there, whether it's Fox or we're on OAN or we're on Newsmax, what they always tell me is shut up and listen so I can tell you how oppressed you are in this systemically racist country. And they get pretty emotional every time I push back against their narrative of dependency. I used to believe them when they said, like their president said, Joe Biden, when they said that the greatest threat to America is angry white men. Well, I got to tell you, I don't believe they believe that. Their greatest threat in America, in the minds of most liberals, is the idea of an angry black man who loves his God, loves his family, and loves his country in that order. That's what they fear the most. The liberals, they fear an angry black man who knows the history and knows that our founding fathers wrote the most impactful document in the history of the world called the United States Constitution. And they know that these freedoms that are guaranteed in that Constitution, they didn't come from Joe Biden, they didn't come from Nancy Pelosi, they didn't come from Lori Lightfoot, they didn't come from Gavin Newsom. They were endowed by us, by our Creator. That's where those rights come from. And let me say this too, you don't have those rights because you're a man, you don't have those rights because you're a woman, you don't have them because you're straight, you don't have them because you're gay, you have them because you were created in the image of God. That's why you have those rights. And friends, what I really discovered during this reality clown show called the Biden regime is that what the left really fears the most in America, more than angry black men, more than angry white men, more than people that love the Constitution, they fear moms. They fear moms like the ones in Virginia. They fear moms like those across the country who are banding together to say that enough is enough. No more of this ideology that separates us based upon race and what we think about each other, but that we are all one America, created under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's who we are as Americans. And friends, what the left doesn't want you to know more than anything, I don't care if you're black or white, woman or man, what they want you to believe, they want you to believe that this is the home of systemic racism. That we've been racist from the start and we'll never be anything but racist. Friends, let me tell you today, this is not the home of systemic racism. This is the home of systemic opportunity. That's what America stands for, and that's what she has continued to stand for. So, in closing, let me say this to you. I was recently told by a Republican that we shouldn't even use the word conservative. That what is it that we're trying to conserve? Is there anything to conserve? Is there anything left for us to conserve? Let me tell you, friends, my answer is we're conserving the 3 C's that made this country great. The Constitution, capitalism, and Christianity for religious liberty. That's what we're conserving as conservatives. So CPAC, while we can't be silenced and we certainly won't be ignored, I want to say God bless you and God bless America. Oh, by the way, got to mention this. There is an open Senate seat in Oklahoma. As you may know, long-term Senator Jim Inhofe. James Langford's still here, who's on the plane with me. Jim Inhofe has retired. And so there's going to be an open Senate seat there. If you know of any good candidates, go to T.W. Shannon and let me know their names. Thank you so much. God bless you. And God bless
you all. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fire Fauci.